My name is Clara. I am a 25-year-old manager at the passport office, accustomed to handling crises, though none so personal as the one unfolding before me now. Our new home is almost ready, Andrew blurts out, breaking the silence with words that clang like dropped silverware. He seems to anticipate my confusion and hastens to add, "It's big enough for all of us, Clara. You'll love it." Lucy nods, her earrings catching the light with every calculated movement. "We thought it's time we all live together. You manage so much already. Think of the support you'll have with us around." Their words hang in the air, a proposal dressed up as a favor, and I sense the trap. How do I manage my response without toppling the precarious balance of our family dynamics? Beside me, the windows reveal the creeping twilight, shadows stretching across the lawn as if to snatch at the fading light. "I appreciate your thoughts," I start, measuring my tone, careful not to let the sudden tightness in my chest color my words. "But you know, my job requires a certain level of independence and space for decompression." Lucy's eyes narrow just slightly, her smile stiffening as she processes my diplomatic refusal. "Oh, but darling," she begins, her voice a syrupy concoction of feigned concern and barely masked insistence. "Think of poor Tom. Andrew's brother, Tom, 20, who's had his struggles and could benefit from having you close by. Tom, who relies heavily on me for emotional support, who often looks to me as a beacon in his fog of confusion and distress, now being used as a pawn in this neatly laid plan. My heart aches for him, yet resentment simmers beneath the surface at the manipulation so artfully played." The conversation lingers, a dance around my objections, their arguments growing in fervor as the evening wears on. I find myself retreating behind my mental barricades, preparing for the siege I know is coming. As they outline their vision of our shared future, I plot my escape from a scenario I never agreed to enter. The battle lines are drawn, not with loud declarations, but with whispered promises and veiled threats, each one a thread in the web meant to bind me to their will. I feel a cool resolve settling over me as dinner concludes. This is not just a dispute over living arrangements. This is a struggle for autonomy, a fight to preserve the sanctity of my personal space and peace. And as they retire to the living room, their voices a murmur of assumed victory, I stay behind to clear the plates, my thoughts as sharp and dangerous as the shards of my shattered expectations. Tonight, I resolve that I will not be moved, not by guilt, not by coercion. I am Clara, and this is where I make my stand. As the days slip into weeks, the atmosphere in our home grows increasingly stifling, transformed from a sanctuary into a silent battleground. The news of the shared living arrangement festers like a wound left unattended, poisoning every interaction with subtle jabs and overt criticisms. Andrew, ever the passive observer, seems content to let his mother orchestrate the dynamics, retreating behind a facade of obliviousness that only fuels my frustration. One chilly morning, the air crisp with the promise of autumn, the situation escalates unexpectedly. Lucy, with her calculated charm, corners me in the kitchen, her voice a low hum as she spreads her web of guilt and manipulation. "Clara, you do understand why this is necessary, don't you? For family? For Tom." Her words, meant to soothe, grate against my resolve like sandpaper. Tom, a delicate soul of 20 years, is the unwitting weapon in her arsenal. His recent episodes, marked by confusion and an aching vulnerability, have grown more frequent, his need for stability more pronounced. I find him one afternoon, curled up in the living room, his eyes lost and frightened. He clings to me, his anchor in the tumultuous sea of his thoughts. "I just want everything to be okay," he whispers, and my heart breaks for the umpteenth time under the weight of his simple wish. The idea of abandoning him is unbearable, yet staying means suffocating under the oppressive weight of Lucy's designs. Each day, the walls of my own home seem to close in tighter, the air thick with unspoken threats and the sour tang of coercion. Lucy's presence becomes more overbearing, her visits more frequent. She fills our space with her belongings, marking the territory as her own, her influence seeping into every corner. Andrew watches this slow invasion, a spectator to his mother's machinations. When I confront him, seeking an ally in the husband I once thought I knew, his response is a shrug of resignation. "She's just trying to help, Clara." We can make it work, can't we? But his words, hollow and unconvincing, fail to mask the truth. He is not the partner I need him to be. Not now, not against the force of his mother's will. The tension reaches a boiling point one evening when Lucy, emboldened by Andrew's acquiescence, delivers an ultimatum masked as a benevolent offer. Think of this as an opportunity, Clara. A way to keep your job and your family intact. Isn't that worth a little compromise? Her eyes, sharp and calculating, bore into mine, expecting submission. I retreat to our garden, the only place left untouched by her reach. The roses are blooming late this year, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the gray shadows under which I find myself. I realize then, with a clarity that is both liberating and terrifying, that I cannot win this war by playing defense. It is not enough to withstand the siege. I must find a way to reclaim my life, to sever the ties that bind not with gentle snips, but with decisive, cutting blows. As night falls and the house quiets, I make a decision that terrifies as much as it empowers me. If leaving is the only way to escape the toxic tangle of their needs and manipulations, then so be it. I will not be caged by their expectations, nor will I let Tom be used as a chain to bind me. Tomorrow, I resolve, will be different. Tomorrow, I start planning my escape, not just for my sake, but for Tom's too. Tomorrow, I begin to fight back. The sun rises, casting long shadows that slice through the morning mist, a herald of the new resolve that stirs within me. Today, the weight of my decision feels both terrifying and exhilarating, a catalyst for change in a life that has become intolerably constricted. I stand before the bathroom mirror, my reflection a testament to the sleepless night past, eyes haunted yet resolute. Today, I reclaim my agency. My morning routine unfolds with mechanical precision, each step a beat in the rhythm of normalcy, yet beneath the surface, a storm brews. As I leave for work, the familiar confines of my office at the passport office offer a semblance of sanctuary, a place where I am valued not for the sacrifices I make for others, but for my competence and dedication. It's here, amidst the clatter of keyboards and the low murmur of my colleagues, that an unexpected opportunity presents itself. A position in a different city, a chance for a fresh start away from the oppressive grip of my current life. My heart races as I read the email detailing the offer, a lifeline thrown in the darkest of times. The decision to accept is swift, fueled by a mixture of desperation and clarity. But with the decision comes the daunting reality of the confrontation that must follow. The thought of informing Andrew and facing Lucy's inevitable wrath sends a shiver down my spine. Yet, the alternative, continued subjugation under their rule, is unthinkable. Returning home feels like entering a battlefield, the air thick with tension that tugs at the edges of my resolve. Dinner passes in oppressive silence, the clinking of cutlery on china the only conversation. Finally, as Andrew retires to the living room and Lucy prepares her evening tea, I muster the courage to speak. Andrew, I begin, my voice steady despite the pounding of my heart. I received a job offer today. In another city. The words hang between us, heavy and irrevocable. His reaction is a mixture of confusion and concern, quickly clouded over by the shadow of his mother's influence. But what about us? What about Tom? He asks, his voice laced with an unease that speaks to his own entrapment. We can visit. Tom can come to stay with me. It's not the end, I reply, though my words sound hollow, even to my own ears. The ensuing days are a whirlwind of preparation and clandestine planning. I secure an apartment in the new city, arrange for my belongings to be moved quietly, systematically untangling my life from theirs. Each step is a bittersweet mix of liberation and guilt, especially as I watch Tom grapple with the looming change. His dependence on me, once a chain, now feels like a bond one am loath to break, yet know I must. Finally, the day arrives. The divorce papers, a symbol of my final break from a life of manipulation, lie heavy on the kitchen counter. I sign them with a trembling hand, each stroke of the pen a severance of the ties that have bound me. I leave the house with nothing but a suitcase and a heart full of mixed emotions, the door closing behind me with a quiet click, a subdued yet definitive end to my life here. As I drive away, the rearview mirror reflects the image of the home I am leaving behind, its outline blurring with distance and tears. But ahead lies a road open and unwinding, leading to a future of my own making, a future where I am the architect of my destiny, unshackled and free. As I navigate the winding roads toward my new city, the skyline emerges like a promise on the horizon, a stark contrast to the landscape of manipulation and control I leave behind. The decision to leave, though fraught with emotional turmoil, now feels like a breath of fresh air, infusing me with a sense of possibility that I hadn't felt in years. My new apartment, modest and unassuming, welcomes me with its promise of a fresh start, the walls empty and echoing potential. In the quiet of my first night alone, the freedom is palpable, yet so is the weight of my decisions. I lie awake, the shadows cast by streetlights dancing across the ceiling, reflecting the tumult of my thoughts. My plan, bold and fraught with risk, begins to take shape in the solitude of these sleepless hours. The key to ensuring my in-laws' departure from my life lies in an audacious move, a house, known to me for its foundational troubles, veiled behind a facade of charming antiquity. Over the following weeks, I immerse myself in the local real estate market, my search discreet and focused. The house I choose sits precariously on unstable ground, its issues well documented, but easily obscured by cosmetic fixes and strategic staging. I purchase it under a pseudonym, ensuring an extra layer of separation from my past life. With the property secured, I craft my next move, luring Lucy and Andrew into their own undoing. I extend an olive branch, an invitation to visit me, couched in terms of reconciliation and new beginnings. Their acceptance is tinged with suspicion, but the allure of a free stay proves too tempting to resist. The visit is a carefully orchestrated affair. I welcome them into the home, watching as they marvel at the superficial renovations, unaware of the impermanence of the ground beneath their feet. The weekend passes with a veneer of civility, punctuated by moments where I subtly extol the virtues of the property, the peace of the neighborhood, the deceptive solidity of the old structure. When I propose they consider moving in, citing my inability to stay due to unforeseen professional obligations, Lucy's interest is piqued. The house, with its quaint charm and my seemingly reluctant offer, becomes a symbol of their victory, a misguided belief that they are still manipulating the strings. With a mix of triumph and trepidation, I watch as they take the bait. The paperwork is transferred, the house officially theirs, and my ties to them irrevocably cut. As I retreat back to my small apartment, the magnitude of what I've set in motion settles around me like a cloak. I've turned their tactics against them, using their greed and overconfidence to craft my escape. But freedom comes with its own set of challenges. The guilt of using deception, a tool I despised in them, weighs heavily on me. Yet, as I ponder the path ahead, the resolve firms within me. This act, while drastic, was necessary, a measure of protection not just for myself, but for reclaiming the life I was meant to lead, free from the shadows of their influence. As I lay in my bed, the city sounds a distant hum, the truth of my actions settles within me. I've navigated the treacherous waters they stirred, using their own currents to carry me to safety. Now, ahead lies a journey of rebuilding, not just my surroundings, but my inner world, repairing the fractures, nurturing the growth, and stepping into the light of my own dawn. The autumn leaves drift past my window in a slow, melancholic dance, their colors a vivid reminder of the season's change. This shift mirrors my own transformation, from a pawn in a manipulative game to the master of my own fate. I watch from the safety of my apartment, now a fortress of solitude and planning. With Lucy and Andrew securely tucked away in their new, precarious abode, my next move unfolds with the precision of a chess grandmaster placing her pieces for the final checkmate. I've spent weeks gathering the evidence necessary for my confrontation. Each document, each recording, meticulously collected and archived, not just for my own sake, but as a shield and sword against any backlash. The house, now beginning to reveal its flawed foundation, serves as the physical metaphor for the shaky ground upon which Lucy and Andrew's deceitful lives have been built. As I prepare for the imminent meeting, my mind rehearses each scenario. The potential outrage, the denial, the possibility of legal threats, all anticipated and countered in the fortress of my mind. The setting for this reckoning is a nondescript hotel room, chosen for its neutrality. The room's bland walls and impersonal decor are a stark contrast to the charged atmosphere that will soon fill it. The day arrives with a heavy overcast, the clouds as somber as my mood. Lucy and Andrew, summoned under the pretense of discussing urgent family matters, arrive punctually, their expressions a mix of curiosity and wariness. I greet them with a calmness that belies the storm brewing beneath the surface. "Thank you for coming," I begin, my voice steady and clear. "There are some things we need to address, about the house and about the past." Lucy's eyes narrow slightly, sensing the shift in power, while Andrew fidgets, a visible manifestation of his discomfort. I lay out the documents, the recordings, evidence of their manipulations, their abuses, and the legal ramifications of their actions. Each piece lands like a blow, stripping away their veneer of innocence and entitlement. Lucy, ever the matriarch, attempts to bluster her way through, her words a mix of denials and accusations. "This is ridiculous, Clara. You're being dramatic and ungrateful." But I am prepared. My response is rehearsed yet sincere. "It's not about gratitude, Lucy. It's about respect and legality. You've crossed lines that should never have been crossed." Andrew, caught between his allegiance to his mother and the undeniable truth before him, remains silent, his inaction a damning testament to his character. The meeting reaches its crescendo as I reveal the final piece of evidence, a detailed report from an engineer confirming the house's instability, a metaphor too poignant to be ignored. Their future, like the house, stands on precarious ground. "You have a choice," I tell them, my tone resolute. "You can accept responsibility and make amends, or you can face the consequences legally and socially." As they leave the hotel, the weight of their choices heavy upon them, I remain seated, drained yet vindicated. The battle, fought not with swords, but with truth and cunning, has been won. But it is a victory tempered by the knowledge of the necessity of such warfare. In the solitude that follows, I reflect on the journey that has led me here. From a pawn, moved at the whim of others, to a queen, commanding her own life's board. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with the challenges of rebuilding and healing, but it is a road I now walk with my head held high, the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. The crisp air of the city wraps around me as I leave the stark anonymity of the hotel behind. My stride is purposeful, each step echoing the newfound resolve that courses through me. I've emerged from the confrontation not only unscathed, but empowered, the cords of manipulation severed cleanly by the sharp edges of truth. In the aftermath of our meeting, the repercussions for Lucy and Andrew begin to unfurl like dark clouds on the horizon. News of their deceit and manipulation spreads, the community's whispering voices painting them in hues of disgrace and mistrust. It isn't long before their social standing begins to crumble, the foundations as unstable as the house they now inhabit. Meanwhile, the legal threats I laid before them take on a life of their own. Faced with potential charges of fraud and emotional abuse, Lucy and Andrew scramble to contain the damage. But the evidence is too damning, the testimonies too poignant. Their legal counsel, faced with the mountain of proof, advises settlement, an acknowledgement of their misdeeds wrapped in the guise of financial and public relations strategy. As the city around me transitions into winter, the chill in the air mirroring the cold reality faced by my former in-laws, I find myself at a crossroads. The life I had known is behind me, the bridge to my past burned with necessary finality. Ahead lies a path uncharted, free from the shadows that had clouded my days. My days are now filled with the quiet routine of rebuilding. I immerse myself in my work, finding solace in the structure it provides. My new position offers not just a distraction, but a meaningful challenge, drawing on my strengths and pushing me towards new professional heights. I find myself thriving, the appreciation and respect of my colleagues a balm to the scars left by past betrayals. But it is not just in the professional sphere that I seek renewal. I open myself to the possibility of new connections, the prospect of friendships, and perhaps, in time, something deeper. My evenings, once the loneliest part of my day, become punctuated with the laughter and warmth of new relationships. Dinners with coworkers, weekend outings with neighbors, and the occasional date begin to fill my calendar, painting my life with vibrant new colors. Amidst this phase of personal growth and social exploration, I meet someone. He is a colleague, introduced during a project meeting, his demeanor marked by a gentle strength that piques my interest. We bond over shared interests and mutual respect, our connection deepening with each encounter. He is different from anyone I've known, his kindness and sincerity shining clearly, untainted by ulterior motives. As the winter snow blankets the city, transforming the streets into scenes from a snow globe, my heart, too, undergoes a transformation. The bitterness and wariness slowly melt away, replaced by a cautious optimism. In him, I find not just a partner, but a fellow traveler on the road to healing. Together, we explore what it means to build a relationship founded on respect and mutual support. Our conversations delve deep, exploring past pains and future hopes. With each shared story, each moment of vulnerability, the bond between us strengthens, a testament to the power of starting anew. As the year closes, I find myself reflecting on the tumultuous journey that brought me to this point. The battles fought were hard and painful, but they led me to a place of greater strength and clarity. Looking forward, I see not a continuation of past struggles, but a horizon bright with promise and the sweet possibility of a future crafted by my own hands. As the first hints of spring begin to thaw the crisp edges of the city's winter facade, my life, too, undergoes a gentle unfurling. The past year's storms, which had once seemed relentless and unforgiving, now feel like distant echoes, their lessons woven into the fabric of my renewed existence. In this season of renewal, I find myself often walking through the city's sprawling parks, the budding trees a metaphor for my own growth. Each step on the gravel paths is a tangible reminder of my journey from captivity to freedom, from shadow into light. The man by my side, whose presence has become a steady pulse in my life, shares these quiet moments of reflection. His name is Daniel, and in him, I have discovered not only love, but a partnership grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Together, we navigate the complexities of our pasts, careful not to let old scars dictate our future. Our conversations are honest and deep, filled with the kind of truths that only come from having faced one's darkest moments head-on. Daniel listens, truly listens, his empathy a balm to the still tender wounds of betrayal and deceit I once endured. Our relationship blossoms amidst the backdrop of my new life's rhythms, the steady cadence of my career, now thriving in an environment that values integrity and hard work, the melody of friendships that have proven both joyful and restorative, the harmony of a daily existence no longer overshadowed by manipulation and control. Lucy and Andrew, now distant figures tied to a chapter of my life that has firmly closed, face their own repercussions. The community's censure has taken its toll, isolating them socially and professionally. Legal entanglements, too, continue to bind them, a constant reminder of the consequences of their actions. Their house, once a symbol of their deceit, remains fraught with problems, its deteriorating condition a mirror of their fractured lives. As for Tom, the young man whose vulnerability had once been exploited in the games of his family, I maintain a quiet support from afar. Freed from the toxic dynamics of his mother's household, he begins to find his own way, his communications with me now filled with hope and a burgeoning self-awareness. It is a relationship transformed by distance yet strengthened by genuine affection and respect. The full bloom of spring brings with it a sense of peace and possibility. Daniel and I, our bond deepened by shared experiences and mutual aspirations, begin to discuss a future together. Conversations about moving in together, about blending our lives not out of necessity, but out of desire, fill our evenings with excitement and a dash of nerves. One such evening, as we sit overlooking the city from the small balcony of my apartment, the sunset painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink, I find myself overwhelmed by a profound gratitude. The trials I endured, the battles fought both within and outside myself, have led me here, to this moment of contentment and hope. I never knew it was possible, I confess to Daniel, my voice soft, to feel this free, this whole, after everything that's happened. He takes my hand, his touch steady and warm. It's not just possible, Clara, it's deserved. You fought for this peace. Now, it's time to live it. And as we sit there, the city lights flickering to life below us, I realize that he is right. My past, with all its pain and struggle, has not defined me but refined me. Looking forward, I am no longer just a survivor of manipulation and deceit. I am a creator of my destiny, a woman reborn in the crucible of her own strength and resilience. As the chapter of spring closes and the promise of summer beckons, I step forward into my future, a future not free from challenges, but one rich with the potential for growth, love, and continued healing. It is a future I embrace with open arms and an open heart, ready for whatever joys and trials it may bring.